Welcome to episode number 5 of my podcast. Today I have a little bit something else. We will not actually talk about business strategies and businesses at itself, but we will more talk about physical and mental health connected with founding a business or being part of a business. And for this today with me is Edgars Locmelis, who has an engineering degree. So I wanted to take this directly up front. None of us has any medical degrees. So that is not medical advice what we're doing today. It's just telling out of our own experiences. But yeah, welcome, Edgars. Maybe tell a little bit about yourself and what you did so far and how you got into the physical and mental health, got interested in that field.
First of all, so thanks for having me here and being able to share my experiences and my knowledge with you and your listeners. And the usual disclaimer, as you said, this is just our experiences. This that doesn't substitute for medical advice from a professional doctor. But to keep it very brief, my experience was that after finishing school here in Latvia, I went to Germany to study, work, and started a PhD there, all in mechanical engineering. And I spent a total of 12 years over there. And while that time came with a lot of knowledge in different fields, as well in organizations and as in mechanical engineering itself. It also came with some minor chronic health problems, and I never minded. And when I came back to Latvia for several reasons, I settled down here a bit more comfortable and got aware of my health problems again. And realized that nobody could really help me except myself. So I started to dig into this, and by now I consider myself to know more than 95 of the normal doctors around here. And basically realized that just feeling well and not having any health issues has a lot to do with the different basic physical stuff, and my current focus is on the mental health, and that also triggers a lot in your body itself, as well as your emotional behavior, and to say why it's important also in the working field, and especially for startups and for anybody who is quite interested in performance and so on. Just being well physically and mentally helps a lot, of course, and also the mental health helps a lot to get more done, and not just to sit around at the workplace. So that's briefly about my story.
Okay, so but that means I mean, claiming that you know more than 95% of the doctors here in Latvia is of course a very very bold claim, I would say. And I mean, I think nobody would argue with you about that mental health has influence on physical health. I think this is quite well known that some especially chronic disease can be also triggered or can be more severe due to like depressions or other mental health issues. That could affect also the physical health, and the other way around. Also, physical health can, of course, largely influence mental health. But I mean, I guess when you say that you studied it, you have found some kind of way to deal with it. So what's your suggestion? How to keep like mentally and physically healthy?
It's hard to tell, like in one sentence, what to do. But basically, getting the normal stuff right, and not just acting as a lot of people to the more modern lifestyle helps a lot. For example, I realized that eating is simple and not just buying everything you can get in a supermarket helps a lot. Getting proper sleep sounds so simple, but actually, the people in the last 100 years have forgotten about such simple stuff that people used to do for the last 1,000 years just by itself. And modern life obviously also doesn't help with stress and I guess it's a sign if things like the depressions and anxiety are so frequent nowadays compared to 50, 80 years ago.
I mean, it's clear that there is very modern life has some aspects of stress, and there is a lot of things that could lead to anxiety and also depression possibly. However, I would argue completely rid we cannot get of modern society. And I mean, we're it's also clear that when you want to start a business or run a business or be part of some larger project, there will be always stress. There will be always things that that can trigger anxiety. There might be also, I mean, especially in the startup environment, there is a big possibility that you fail, right? So there is a big possibility also for ending up with depression, possibly, or other issues. But I mean, like just saying not taking part in this, I think, is not a solution. So what is your I guess like counterbalance to that, maybe to call it like this? Like how do you see that? How you deal with this for yourself? Let's maybe start like this: how you counterbalance your business life with your mental and physical health.
First of all, basically it helps to be aware of such things. Mm-hmm. For example, I wasn't aware of something like that at all, and some measures you have to take so the modern life that doesn't rule you over, but you can control it. For example, just like by limiting notifications on your mobile phone, or changing your outlook at some points. Do you really have to stress about everything? Like, I'm pretty sure you had bigger troubles in your lives than somebody saying something, or the bus not being on time, or something like that. So, and my measures to also counterbalance that. For example, getting proper sleep is so simple and helps you with reducing stress. And also the things that sound more obvious to that is meditation or breathing techniques, and not so obvious taking walking in the nature or relaxing. Like really putting aside the time for doing nothing, it helps quite a lot, I would say. And not so obvious things also help with that. For example, going for cold swims also reduces stress, or going to the sauna, and getting as much sunlight as you can. All the quite obvious stuffs that people they didn't think about and just did 100 years ago helps a lot to reduce the stress. That's what I mean. Like modern life per se, I don't think it's much more stressful than the life we lived 100 years ago. But 100 years ago, we reduced our stress unconsciously, and now we have to be aware of it and plan our time accordingly. Because if you sit in the office, you won't get as much sunlight as somebody who is working on the field. And for physical activity also helps you to reduce stress. Also, you have to plan for it. If you are just sitting in the office the whole day, something like that.
Okay, I see. So basically, what you found for yourself, what just helping. I mean, it sounds quite simple. Maybe it is. It is often not. I think is basically what people would consider like general healthy lifestyle. Is that like correct description of that? Like having some movement, eating more or less healthy, having activities, being in nature, sun, clean air, things like this. Yeah, this is basically the thing that you found helps.
But basically, yes, the difficulty is, of course, in the details, because if you say healthy lifestyle, everybody understands something else for it. And for me, the biggest problem is the mental health. As I say, like if you think about a healthy lifestyle, I would think about for eating and sports and so on. But there is so much going on in your body that is triggered by stress, and just changing your outlook on the world can change more than eating properly. But just a simple example: if you're stressed out, you are not even digesting properly. So, what does it help to go vegan, for example, or so, if you are stressed out and it doesn't matter what are you eating?
Okay. But I think one issue that I generally see, because I'm also from Germany, and I live here in Latvia already for around 10 years. So I know also a little bit the differences. And I think what is one of the difficult things, especially when you come from larger cities, I mean, we're also both in Riga, but it's not comparable like with German cities. Here in Latvia, like nature is much more accessible because you're usually closer. And I think this is sometimes, I think this big city life, at least for me, what I noticed is also a part of it. I mean, it's of course good to be in the city, to be close to other people, be able to go to bars and things like this. But I mean, it comes also with a lot of like anxiety and stress, and getting your bus, going with public transport, all of the things which maybe add up to these kind of things. So I mean, going in nature is an option, definitely, even in Germany or in US or wherever you are. I guess there is a possibility to drive somewhere and go in a park, or a forest or whatever. But I'm not sure if this is like could be part of everyday life. So is there something what you noticed with yourself, or what you found, what it helps, even if you don't necessarily have like immediate access to like nature, forest, parks, things like this, like really like practical things that might help?
Just using as little light as possible in the evening, for example, just before going to bed, has helped my sleep quality a lot. Like, of course, you don't have to go such extremes, but for example, I installed some additional lights in my room, and now in the evenings, in my house, sorry, and now in the evenings, I don't turn on any of the pre-installed lights anymore, as I want my house to be as dark as it is dark outside, basically. And that helps my sleep quality, and that helps my stress levels, and so something like that simple might even help to prevent diabetes, or nobody knows.
So it's basically what you tell with this is that by taking care, like early on when you're younger, before you start to think necessarily about chronic disease, is that a general good and healthy lifestyle and a good mental situation or a good mental state might reduce the risk for chronic disease like diabetes and other things. Do I see this correct? Is this a fair statement that I just made?
I totally agree, because in my case, I had the luck or bad luck to find out in my lifetime. But for example, something like Alzheimer's or some other diseases can be found in your body 20 or 30 years prior finding out that you have the disease. So basically, there is a lot of things going on, like slowly accumulating in your body, that will turn into a disease only when you're older. So that's why the reason that we think that, for example, elder people are more in danger of sicknesses or so, but it could be only because of, say, have accumulated as those things during the lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, there's different factors, right? There is set and setting. So there is, I guess, also genetic predisposition, which can lead to some disease, like you said, Alzheimer. As far as I understand, there is some genetics involved in this as well. And I guess also the aging of the cells have some influence on this. But I think it's also true that some chronic things start with young age. I mean, it's clear diabetes, some diabetes forms are caused by specific diets that you take, right? High sugar diets or things like this, which might lead later on to illnesses. So I would in general agree, but I think it's not the only factor. This is just what I wanted to say with it, right? There's like a lot of factors, and some of the factors, of course, are physical and mental health. I would agree with that, definitely. Yes.
Yes. So, well, what was the question? Sorry.
So that was not a question. That was just a statement.
Okay.
No,
yeah. Sure.
Yeah, so,
sure.
So
like,
but the question then that arises is, okay, sleep you see as important, natural activities you see as important, sports. But now coming back, I mean, this is all more like, I mean, there is some mental health aspect to this as well. But what are like principles of mindset that you found for yourself that help you with having less stress, having a better general state of mind? Like what, like practical things?
So my biggest pitfall, for example, throughout my life has been, and I'm still struggling with it, but hopefully I can manage it, is basically, for example, your outlook to life. I think me and a lot of people worry about the future, but that worry comes from your thoughts that the future will be bad. So you are stressing out about the future that hasn't happened yet, and you have made up yourself. So basically, you're slowly destroying your own health just because of some assumption or so. You don't know.
Yeah. I guess it's also a good point, because I think this is at least what I see when I talk with other entrepreneurs or other founders is that I think this is one thing that is often different with founders, that it's usually a breed of people that even though the situation might look dim at best, they can still be motivated and see some positive for the future and some possibilities to change something, right? I think this is in mindset, at least to my understanding. You can agree or disagree with me afterwards, but what I see is that purpose, maybe, or yeah, I would say purpose is a good medicine for your mental health, because you have something to work for, you have something to look forward to. I also have to say, since I founded a company, what I realized is when I was working before for other people, it was sometimes hard in the morning to stand up, because you don't have necessarily, you don't know for what necessarily you do stand up and what you will do the day and what's the purpose of that. But if you do something yourself and you know for what you're doing that, and you have purpose and something to look forward to, I think it becomes much easier also to go to much harder situations. So would you in general agree that purpose is a part of mental health?
Definitely. That's the reason why I love startups so much, because the basic problem with a lot of people nowadays is it's as you said, so they are getting up in the morning and don't know why, basically. But I found also quite important. Maybe it helps some people is to realize that it was also somehow in my mind that when you do something, that's the best you can. A lot of people beat themselves up internally by saying, "Oh, I was bad, and I have always been bad," but doesn't help anybody. So start yourself realizing that I'm enough, and I did enough, and if it didn't work, then it didn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is a very good advice, especially for startups, because I as statistics shows, a lot of startups will fail. It's just a reality we have to deal with. So I think it's also important to think about, first of all, the mindset of being part of a startup, but also what happens with you in case things are not going your way, right? And then it's, of course, somehow you have to build also healthy engagement with these kind of things, with these possibilities.
What I would say though about lot of startups, and why they fail is that maybe so some people have the idea that my startup has to work out. I will do all it takes for it to be successful. The tricky part is that you have started a startup because it's fun, or at least it's that way should it be. You are doing these things because they are fun, not because you want to reach something.
I mean, I think there's both aspects to it, right? Like just I mean, there's also fun in reaching something. It's like
sure, but it shouldn't be your only motivation.
No, I mean that is clear. I mean, you play the game for the game, but you also want to win.
Yes, sure. But as I said, a friend of mine a few days ago, he's in a band, and it was a short moment before the lockdown. So no concerts possible for them for a while now. And anyway, I said to him, like, concerts are a very bad motivation for doing music, because concert, even if the concert happens, what do you do after the concert? You have to find a new concert, or are you doing the music because you like it?
Yeah. That's very good point. I like this, and I think this is also very good ending point for the episode. So Edgars, it was a pleasure to have you in that episode of our podcast, and I'm very happy that we could discuss this, and I hope that we could also help some other people getting their mental and physical health in order to be their better selves. So thanks, and if you have some closing words, please feel free.
No, just I wish everybody to stay healthy and stay mentally fit during those challenging times, and I hope that doesn't freak you out to be in an unknown situation every day from the very beginning.